You remember, what was her name, this Zimbabwe girl, lady, what was her name?
Tendai.
Tendai.
Tendai was able to got a lot of strength. And we supported her to go and contest for the local election.
Yes. And she set up for us the women's group. She was the first and we invited, because we had met her. I had met her someplace. I invited her to come over, and she set up the women's group for us. And then she said, then it is over to you to, she was setting it up. She came once or twice, and then it took off. So it was a...
The drop-in on Yemi.
Yemi, yes.
The drop-in, I guess
it helped Yemi a lot, and she set up the African Children Movement. The
IACI
Irish African Children. That's, and of course she has a job with HSE ever since. She eventually got that job. She's still there, working at
So you would think that the empowerment from the drop-in helped a lot of people into getting into the mainstream society with confidence and...
Yeah, we had another guy who got a job in Intel eventually, and he was very good. Anybody who was with us went on to do better things. That's my understanding of it. And when I meet them out, and I do meet them, it's amazing where you meet people sometimes, and they remember you, and sometimes I have to jog my memory, but they remember you, and I'm saying, where are you now? They could be in Dundalk, or they could be in Navan or someplace like that, but they've gone on.
They have graduated.
They have graduated, yeah. So it was a great success story. I mean, it continues to be. But it was there at an innovative time, and it was there at a time that there was a great need for something. It was after that, actually, that a Minister for Integration was formed in the Fianna Fáil group.
And then Clement got a job with the Minister for Integration.
Yes. Now Clement played a big role as well, because he was actually in the partnership, and he was able to. That was also a great part of it, and he emceed lots of the things, like a lot of people. You all did. We had
We organized a lot of the events.
You allowed a lot of the events. Do you remember the magazine Exclusive?
Yeah.
That we got into that as well. There was an article written on that, and it was a great experience, and thanks be to God. Hopefully, I think myself that it was a happy time for people who were part of the drop-in. I don't think anybody was unhappy there. We had maybe one incident or two small incidents, but it was individual.
A very satisfied.
In fact,
experience.
I met Annette Young recently.
Okay, yeah, and
and she came to talk to me, and she's living in Jobstown.
Okay.
She's living in Jobstown, and she did say to me that she'd like to come sometime, and I said, well, Mondays and Tuesdays would be the day I'm there, but you're welcome to come any other day as well. Now she hasn't come, but she has been back to Sierra Leone. Wasn't it Sierra Leone she was a native of? But she recognized me, and she said to me, do you remember me? And I said, oh yes, I do, of course. I couldn't put, just for a minute, I couldn't put a name on her, but accordingly then I did, of course. So people have moved on, and people have...
I remember even people who were bereaved looked up to the drop-in to help them out.
Yeah.
And the drop-in were there. You especially was...
always
there.
When Lally died, she had been ill in Ireland, And she wanted to go back to her own country to avail of the natural remedies there. It was I who first spoke to her about what I noticed when she was feeding the baby, that there was another, kind of a lump that I thought, I said, Lally, has anything happened? Where did you get any diagnosis on that? And she said, no, I don't worry about that, because my sister, it's been in the family for a few years. Others have had it as well, and it's okay, And I said, I can't believe that you came out of a maternity hospital and that that wasn't seen to. Shortly after that, it did give her trouble, and she did go to the hospital, and she was diagnosed with cancer, and that was the time she was anxious to go back home. And so Walter did take her back home. And then when he realized that that the remedies over weren't helping either, he wanted to bring her back to the medical staff here, but she wasn't able for the journey, so eventually she died over there. But when he spoke to me then about having something in Ireland, he wanted to have it in the drop-in. He didn't want to have it in the church. He didn't want it. This was where she had her life.
That's where she had a family.
This is where she had her family. And this was, and you videoed it. And he took back the video to Nigeria with him. He said he wanted to do that for folks in Nigeria. So that was extraordinary. Now, his children were at school in Old Court, in Holy Rosary, and Max and the sister and the priest up there came to the drop-in, as did William. Yemi led the service, and I was part of it as well. And between the two of us, that's how I set up the place with candles, and it was according to what we would have done there. But it was a lovely meeting place for all of us getting together. Now, that was in the early days of the drop-in as well. Was it 2006 or 2005?
Then you had this other woman from, was it Mexico or Peru that died?
Yes, Mila. Yeah. Yes, I organised that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mila was Russian, married to an Iraqi man who had died in 2007. She died in 2009 or 10, maybe it was. I have her obituary still. Yeah, that's right. So we organised that as well. And the priest said to me, I said, this lady lived here in this parish. I said, she's a Christian. And her husband, he was new to the place. He'd only been there a short while. So I went to talk to he said, I don't know her. Well, I said, the people around here will know her, because she was living in Churchtown. She created community in Churchtown, on the road she was on. They all knew her, and he knew about that. And I said, so we'll give her a Christian burial. And I said, her husband was a composer, and he taught some of his students are happy to do some of the music. So we'll have that music and everything. He left it all to me and went along with everything. So it was lovely. We had it for the two of them. And they're buried here in Ireland, So those things,
and they were the good
old days.
Immigrants coming to Ireland and finding a welcoming hands.
Yeah, that's true. It was always to be hospitality, a welcome and hospitality. Now, in St. Maelrunes, we were able to look after childcare. Then we had a change of personnel, and health and safety and all this, which I think is over the top in some instances. And so there was then a division that we couldn't look at. We got the bus, so we had the childcare out in the yard. That was fine. When we moved to the other place, the bus then lost its funding, and we weren't. So we cater for adults now.
So how is the drop-in now?
Well, the drop-in itself is going well. It's still reaching out to various nationalities, and it hasn't lost its basic ethos, and childcare is provided at a reasonable rate to us who are in the same premises. But it's not our project. That's somebody else's. No, it isn't. Yeah, but I still get some personal
benefits. The satisfaction, the experience from the drop-in, the initial drop-in lingers on.
Yes, it lingers on. It lingers on, and we're still in contact with the Arts Centre. We do things together, and we're still, in contact with lifelong learning, which happens there with another section of education. But the drop-in has maintained its uniqueness in that it is a drop-in. You're welcomed. It's not a school. It's not, it's operating according to people's needs, responding to that. So we have, for example, we have a wheelchair person there who, technically speaking, we don't have wheelchair facilities, for bathroom and all that sort of thing. But this lady was in mainstream, was with VEC. They weren't able to cope with her. She's a cerebral palsy person, but she has grown immensely in her social skills, and she's happy there. And so she was in Jobestown. They moved to Clondalkin, and the father drives her every day to the drop-in. So those are the sorts